This is Greyshot17.
And Greyshot151 here.
And we're doing a review of It.
Not it as in it, the pronoun. It as in it, the movie. And not it as in it,
Follows.
the 1990 movie. Or it as in it follows. But the it of 2017, it.
I hope you got that.
Yeah, it's very simple.
Yeah.
Just follow us along, and I understand you understand everything, including
Exactly. Now, 151. Would it be fair assessment to say that you were
not looking
stoked for this film?
Okay, I'm going to be completely honest with you guys. I don't like horror movies. I really I read The Nightmare on Elm Street, The Friday the 13th. I read all of their biographies. Never seen the films. I read it all because I was interested, but I never could want to see the films, and I never do because, like, for Saw or those, I just imagine myself in those situations, and I'm basically terrified. I read the synopsis of the worst case was I read the synopsis of The Human Centipede, and I was physically ill for a day. I couldn't eat. I was just like I was sick to my stomach.
Okay. I'm actually glad you said that, because I had the exact same thing where I'm like, I'm not watching this movie, let me read it. Holy fuck, I'm going to go throw up in the toilet now.
Yeah, I literally grew ill just reading it, and I've never seen those movies, and, yeah. But this asshole was like, hey, we're going to go see it for the review.
And
I'm just
here's
like,
my rationale. It was a film that, when I was a kid, I remember in, I think it was 8th grade math, literally the teacher would start talking about clowns, and there was like a math puzzle that had a clown on it. Half the class freaked the fuck out because it's like, no, I don't do clowns. And they asked, it's like, why? It's like, because it's a terrifying movie. It's bloody as hell. Me at the time thinking, oh, this is interesting, because at the time, my brother and I, and we still do, we love monster movies.
So as a kid, we'd
watch...
watch...
me hearing as well, it's like, when it turns into the giant spider, I'm like, it's a monster movie? I had no idea. So,
you watched it as a kid?
Eventually, when I figured YouTube out...
I only watched it a few months ago when the Nostalgia Critic did it.
When the glory days of YouTube, when you could just type something in, and it would be the full video, and it wouldn't be uncensored or time skipped, they just didn't give a shit... I watched it, and I was like, what? Okay. It's fine.
The main note is...
Tim Curry's interesting, but I like Tim Curry in everything he's in.
Now, we're getting a little off topic,
yeah.
But what we're trying to say is, for a general consensus, without diving too much into the movie, if you are someone new to horror, or if you see this movie, it will freak you the fuck out.
Yeah.
But, if you have a back catalog of... You've seen movies.
He doesn't like horror films.
I don't like horror movies.
He can't stand up to horror films.
But I was perfectly fine with this movie. It honestly didn't terrify me in the I mean, it had scary scenes.
Yeah.
But it didn't rattle me to my core or scare me in that regard. Yeah. Like, I didn't leave the movie theater afraid. And I think that's I don't think this movie wants you to. Yeah. But we'll go on to that more later.
Spoilers.
Yeah. But overall, in our general consensus, what we can say is I'll just start off with the characters. And with this plot line, it very much is Stranger Things.
Yep.
But with
darker.
With a rated R, and I will say, a better villain. Stranger Things, I think the weakest part was the monster. While it was interesting, it wasn't captivating. This Pennywise, very much like the Tim Curry version, every time he's on screen, it's very much like he very much is playing with you.
Yeah.
He lures you in, and then there's a scare or something happens, and it works. Like he plays almost with his food, and when he speaks, you want to hear what he has to say. And that's something a lot of horror icons, or a lot of what people are trying to do now with a lot of horror movies, they can't get it. This movie's greatest success is its villain, and it works. The villain is rock solid.
Yeah. It's weird. I wouldn't say he's as good as Mark Hamill's The Joker or something along those lines. But damn, is he getting close to captivating like Heath Ledger. Anyway, so Bill Skarsgård as the clown, Pennywise.
By the way, it's not a name that really rings a lot of bells.
Yeah.
To be 100% frank with the guy.
Yeah.
But neither did Heath Ledger before The Dark Knight. And he had
Brokeback Mountain.
Yeah, but again, if you saw Brokeback Mountain, sure, but what has he actually done?
Alright, so, oh my god, he was in the Legion. I'm so sorry. I'm so sorry. The most recent thing was Atomic Blonde, but Nothing on his resume kind of just sticks out as something like, oh yeah, you need this guy as Pennywise.
Yeah. The only other note I will say in regards to the movie is all the kid actors. You do feel for them. They are kids.
Oh, they're all great.
Yeah,
they're all fantastic. I'm terrible with names, but they're all fantastic.
I will make note that I preferred the ones on. Again, this movie's going to get compared to Stranger Things so hard, and I understand
the Stranger Things kid is so different because he's doing dick jokes all the time, and I'm like, okay, I can't like you. I would not cross my mind and be like that kid is the same as that kid.
No. The only one I will say is the leads.
Yes.
And very much that they follow the same archetype. And and throughout the plot of the movie, he falls in the same archetype as the kid from Stranger Things. However, every other kid is different. There's a kid with mother issues. There's a kid who's a new kid. There's Bev, who is the female of the group. You've probably seen her. Each of them experience different issues and problems.
Yeah.
And it works. They feel fleshed out. And I understand Georgie is the one that leaves the main lead. What's his name? Ben, Bill?
Let me pull it up.
Bill. Yeah, Bill. Or William. For him, it's understandable. But it's also kind of, you've seen it. Therefore, it doesn't feel as fresh. Whereas all the other kids, it hasn't been done before. Or at least, how they react to it is very cool. Like, I felt for Ben, who was like the larger new kid. I actually thought he was kind of endearing because he was like, he's new, he doesn't have any friends, he's used to...
Like, if you want a standout character, Ben would probably be like that most interesting character.
The character I also want to know more about, I will say, Bev does a great job. Richie's hilarious.
Mike.
Who's Mike?
The African-American?
Yeah, Mike.
Yeah.
He is... I wish there was more screen time with him because
I'm not trying to be... Again, I'm not... It's like, he is like... In his character, has the most fascinating backstory, and I want to know more.
Yeah, there's a lot. I hope he's one of the main leads.
And by the way,
because he's not as prevalent as with the others, but
yes.
that's because there's a reason why.
There's also again, this might be a little spoilery. He has an amazing fight sequence, and I'm just like, I'm rooting for this guy. Like, go!
Yep.
But overall,
what was? Oh yeah, the burn. Yeah. Oh yeah.
So. All these kids, Bev is great, Bill, Ben, and then of course you have every single kid here. I just am invested. I like, except for one, and I think Stan was the one. I'm like,
Stan. Yeah, okay, and you'll know it because essentially he's the this is gonna sound bad. He's the Jewish one. He's the one. He's the Jewish one. To be honest, because they give him one scene, and there's not really much else. Richie, I like how they use his fear because that I thought was clever.
Yeah.
It also, but it doesn't really make sense in the past. I guess it kind of does in a little bit, but
overall,
Stan kind of feels. Stan and Mike. Stan especially feels like the kid that just got shut out. Then it's Mike. Then it steadily goes forward. But Ben, Bev, and Bill, the three Bs. They all work really well, and I enjoyed every time they were on screen. The scares are solid throughout the movie. There are definitely some that are far better than others.
And they're not in the trailer, in case you're wondering.
Yeah. You've not seen the best ones. Even ones you think is the best one, it's not.
Yeah. There's one in particular. I'm like, okay, you got me, movie.
Yeah. That movie got me. But as long as you keep a rational head, it's not a fear that's going to terrify you. It's
unnerving.
Yeah. And there are some also clever jokes in this movie, which plays homage to the Tim Curry version.
The entire theater burst out in laughter multiple times.
Especially sequence involving a choice, you could say. I won't spoil any more than that, but it was really, really funny.
And even Pennywise himself can be pretty damn funny. There's a scene where him dancing. He doesn't have to dance. He dances.
I guarantee.
And it's hilarious.
It's going to be a meme. It's going to be a GIF. Just be like, he's dancing just straight on.
His head's
it's terrifying yet funny, and it works.
Yeah.
This movie balances it. Again, there's more scares.
And there's a point where he's whiffing it, whiffing something, and I'm just like, oh wow. He's like, more, come on. Okay, come on, more.
Yeah. He's very much a alien creature, whatever he is. He's a predator, and he's feeding on these kids' fear more so than their flesh.
They leave it up to where that's the thing about this world. I love this world because they set up that he could be a Native American in his background. He could be an alien. He could be any. It's like they set up.
He's just this thing. He's it. But it's a creature that stays around.
Yeah.
It always lurks, and it sends up basically almost a town full of no morals. But it's not. This monster doesn't just target the young.
Yeah.
It uses others to get what its will, and you can see that by how it's manipulating people.
Let's not go into specifics.
I won't say how,
Yeah.
but you can definitely this thing sees what's going on in the town, and basically like a puppeteer.
Yeah.
Screws around with this town.
Yeah.
And screws around with the people inside of it so it can get its food.
Exactly.
And it works.
Oh,
there are people. I will make note. There are some scenes, and if I did have nitpicks, some plots, some poor choices, but overall, it works. I felt compelled in this world.
I would say 95% of choices in this movie I can agree with, or I could accept. Like, they're kids. They're gonna mess up. And to be fair, when they come back in force. They learn from their mistakes.
And character actions are actions that you may see at the beginning of this movie and question why.
Yeah.
By the end of the movie, you understand more about that character because of it, and it doesn't seem so out of place. For instance, when one kid is attacked in the beginning, it seems out there, but how they build up a certain character fleshes him out more and more. And I won't spoil anything more in that regard, but I will say the kids, the bullies, the adults, all of them, all the humans that you see work.
All the humans.
And especially this poor pharmacist.
Oh my god.
Poor pharmacist. He seems like the nicest guy in the town.
I'm going to put his face here. I will edit his face in. In the trailer, he's like, oh, this creepy man is, like, conspiring with Pennywise. And I'm just sitting there like,
he's just a nice guy.
He's a nice guy. He's not, at least, to be fair, he could be a cold-blooded murderer.
He's creepy, but he seems like a nice enough guy.
He's kind enough to where, like, yeah, I'll help you out with what you need. Yep. He just has one of those weird smiles, and the guy making the trailer, like, oh, we can use that.
Yeah.
We can use that.
Yeah, he looks creepy enough.
But anyway, we'll go into spoilers in a second. Overall, again, the characters, the setting, the world, the villain, the effects hold up really well. I actually kind of like, again, there's a lot of scenes with a lot of movement, a bit of CGI, but it fits really well. There's only a few parts where I'm like, okay, it looks a little cheesy, but overall, it looks
works.
great.
Yeah,
and the soundtrack I liked because it went from like really haunting to kind of fun.
Yeah, and enthusiastic, and the theme of this movie, very much facing your fears and whatnot, works because by the end of it, you're not most horror movies leave you terrified or like wanting more, and I don't. For me personally, I'm fine if it's not a happy ending.
Yes.
Because this is not a happy ending. Not completely. And it's not...
It's what people... I hope people want from Game of Thrones, where it's like, not a happy ending, but not everyone die ending.
Yeah, exactly. And it's... For me, it works because I want to come back. Yeah. I will say this. I did not want to go in to see it. But afterward, I was like...
I want to see the sequel.
I honestly want to see the sequel. Yeah, I want to see what they do. I want to see how he comes back. I want to see, in regards to the clown.
Yeah.
I want to see, because if you don't know, there is going to be
a sequel.
Yeah, the miniseries was 2 parts in one longer film.
One focusing on the kids, one focusing on the adults. Guess what? Part 2 is going to deal with the adults.
Most likely 2 years in the future.
And if the studio's like, money, there'll be 3.
This movie's going to make a killing at the box office, guaranteed. Yeah. It's going to make hand over fist. I would not expect if it went past the sequel. If there was a chapter 3.
This movie, just like I mentioned to my brother, like Jurassic Park with Jurassic World, hits a nerve in people where it was a cultural thing that maybe we didn't make a ton of money at originally, but because so many people talked about it and so many were affected by it. It has this cult, and now it has a cult status and this huge icon where when they bring it back and they do it
27
really
years later, exactly.
They do it really well. People are invested, and that's
they know
why
what to
it's making so much.
They may not be scared like myself. Like I've seen plenty of horror movies, but new people that are seeing this that have not seen horror that may try it because I guarantee this horror movie is going to attract people that have never seen horror movies or don't like to go see horror movies or don't want to go. But they're like, I'll go see it. They're going to get terrified. And then 27 years later, they're going to bring their kids to the reboot, and they'll be like, well, it's time to torture you folk.
One thing, it's like, it wasn't as good as the original. Even though the remake.
The original had some... I will say, there's different scares in the original.
I meant 27 years down the line to this
movie. Yeah.
But one thing I will... so let's go to rating.
Okay.
What would you give it?
I would give it, my personal opinion, a 7. Now, you're probably asking why.
Wow, that's... All right, go ahead.
Okay. I think this movie was really good.
Uh-huh.
I'm not arguing with you in there. But for my problem is it, and this is because again I'm not a horror guy. I appreciate the films. Everything about it was great. There were just some. Actually, bump that up to an 8. I'll bump it up to an 8. Upon recollection, I will bump it up to an 8. I had some major issues with this film. There were a lot of little things, but the characters worked, the monster worked, and upon reflection, this is a horror movie that I actually enjoyed. And I honestly went into this saying, oh yeah, this is gonna be an overhyped movie. And I kind of still have that feeling. It is a little bit overhyped, just a smidge. I had problems with the families, but upon recollection, like there's so many little hints. This movie is filled to the brim with hints about this world, and it works.
Yeah.
And
more so than I would.
Yeah. So I will give it an 8. That is what I will give it, and I would highly recommend you seeing this if you are of any interest.
So for me,
yeah.
I was actually aiming for a 9 out of 10 because there isn't I can't think of there's a few nitpicks I could say.
Yeah, that was my thing. I could stand
at a couple, but
I could stand on high.
You can nitpick, but if I leave a horror film feeling good about myself, you did something really, really right.
And I can't argue with that. Yeah.
So, because we agreed with you with Dunkirk, and we kind of lowered it down. I'm going to give this a 9 out of 10 for it. And I can't believe I'm saying that for a clown movie, but I am. Now, spoilers are up, so if you don't want to be spoiled, tune back later. But your first spoiler, good sir.
Bill has period blood on his face. This is later.
This is the cut.
Right! Shit, I forgot about that.
There is a lot of period blood.
Yeah, okay.
All over the bathroom walls. All over the walls.
Yeah, that was used. I completely forgot she cut her hand. Yeah. I was just like, oh no. I immediately was like, where'd the blood come from? Oh.
Thank you. Thank you for that.
Okay, look, I'm an idiot. In any case, that makes a lot more sense.
9 out of 10!
9 out of 10 movie. But no, it's dark and hopeful, but and we're on to the jokes. I'll start with them first. The fucking doors.
Yes.
Was fucking amazing. It's very scary, not scary at all. And oh my god. That had me cracking up. That was very good.
Richie's jokes, constant jokes.
Dick jokes. Oh my god. He's better than a comedian.
Oh my, he just kept going. I'm just like, every time
why was I stuck in here? You drew the short stick. Well, we should have been going by longest dicks. I would have been out,
I would have made it.
It was just like, this little kid just has so many little one-liners. And it was so fucking good.
Yeah. And the bully tries, and
the bully also, the turn, I thought he was, oh god, here comes another bully. Oh wow, he really goes full psychopath. And you see his build. It's
my god,
I know there's a lot of spoilers, and there's not a lot of connectivity, but there's so much I want to gush over about this movie.
Yeah, and again, that's why I give it a 9. But the point of the matter is, the fact that every single person is watching this programming, and Pennywise, you can hear the kids chanting, and it's some people ignore it while all the adults with all the major problems are watching this programming, and it's with Pennywise saying
You'll
stuff.
Float too.
Yeah.
Which by the way has a payoff.
Yeah.
Totally, and it works.
Great payoff.
Totally works. As this creature that basically feasts every so often.
And then the best payoff at all. Those kids beating the fuck out of that clown.
Yes! You were cheering!
Yes!
Pennywise is terrifying. What he can do is absolutely terrifying. He could, change his body and
But when they learn his weakness, which don't fear him, once you don't give him energy, he's on reserve.
Yeah, he runs out of juice real quick.
And it's you hitting him and stuff like that, he can morph in all these things, but eventually, like a Philosopher's Stone and Full Metal Alchemist, it runs dry, and he's like, and then there's the kid Bill makes this one line saying, you know what, we're not afraid anymore, but you know what, you're afraid of starving. and you can see the terror on his face, and it works. You can see this creature, for so long he'd been terrorizing the predator, and on the opposite end he became prey, which ties into the beginning, which Mike, the whole philosophy, his grandfather his grandfather basically told him, you gotta be the top, because you can't let other people make you prey. It's very blunt, but it works when it comes to this ending. Yeah, and some people could say there's problems with, it's too happy and then it goes too dark. I'm like, it fits really well.
God damn it.
But again, it's also Pennywise is fantastic. There's a part where there's a projector scene, And he's like, you see the hair going, and it's Pennywise, and you're like, all right, we've seen this from the trailer, blah, blah, blah. They push it over, and they stop it, and they'll go do it. He fucking, like a 3D model, jumps out of it with a giant thing.
And every cut coming closer and closer.
He's like looking around with the giant fang teeth. I'm just like... Yep. Which also, by the way, I didn't know about the teeth. I had no idea.
Yeah, that was the thing.
All you see at the Tim Curry is like a little sharpened teeth with maybe a little bit of fang
They
finish.
really go.
It's like a goddamn...
Langolier?
Yeah, freaking Langolier.
Well, that's
popping out, grabbing... the arm.
Going with Stephen King here, because of the series, that was the one I remember as a kid, the Langoliers.
Ripping someone's arm off, the little kids, and then him crawling away, and then the extended arm coming out, pulling him in.
When he did that, I immediately thought Langolier. Like, they just chomp, chomp, chomp. He basically bit off this kid's arm, rips it off, and basically is like, oh, good, look, dessert, and just pulls the kid under. I was just like, oh, God. They made it brutal.
Yeah.
And, yeah, this movie, oh God, it's
also there are parts
when it wants to be scary.
Pennywise is watching someone because he's enjoying the fear and everything, and he's watching this kid getting the shit kicked out of him, and he's just waving an arm that he's gnawing on, like, "Hey, what's up?" I was just like, "What the fuck?" Like that scene actually had me laughing, like, "What the fuck?"
Yeah, this movie has a lot of what the fucks.
Again, this is why I always come back to like. He has that nerving sense like the Joker, but just more twisted in a different sense, where it's like he's making a funny moment out of a really dark thing. Maybe that's just my humor. I'm sorry, but that just got me. That cracked me up. So
I did find it. Yeah, I didn't laugh. The only time I laughed was the Doors, but I did smirk a little bit.
Scary, very scary, not scary, and not so scary, or something.
Not scary at all.
Not scary at all. They open the door. There's someone hanging out.
It was Bev. It was Bev with the torso,
and they're like. It's not there. They open it back up. It's fine. Yep. It's like, oh.
Because they remember it's not. That's the thing. It's like when Pennywise is there, it's real. But when he's not, like, okay, how do I say this? Pennywise is real, but everything else is not.
Yeah.
So the acid isn't real. All that stuff isn't real. But they think it is. And as long as they think it is to them.
Yeah.
And that's the power of the fear. But as soon as it's gone...
Yeah,
he's powerless, and I liked that switch. But I also did like how he could change. Basically, he was a shapeshifter.
Yeah,
he went from like a mummy to like like a spider,
leper,
like a leper. Yeah, I thought it was a zombie. I was like, what the fuck is this thing? I didn't know it was leper.
Also, I loved each of the kids had like really good story arcs. Like the mom kind of sheltering him because I'm assuming the mom knows what's going on. They were like protect the kid, which is I get. Then you had the abusive the cop. Or like not abuse. Well, I'm gonna say. Wow.
He was an alcoholic.
Yeah. Okay.
Well, Bev's dad was basically a child molester. I'm guessing. That's why he kept saying, "You're my little girl," and
then that was really freaky. But then you had like William's parents, and they were just emotionally like they just had a hard time dealing with the fact that their son died or went missing. And it's just like
grieving. Yeah.
Yeah. You felt like
you can see the parents grieving and they want to find something, but it's kind of everyone's afraid to do something. And
then you also have the other parents who are just like they're just distraught, hoping they can find them.
Yep. Which it brings my attention is if there's so many kids missing, then like there's a lot of floating kids.
Yeah.
And I noticed like where the hell is the FBI? Did he murder them too? Like I honestly wish there was like 2 floating FBI agents up there too.
My thing is, like, the police were active. You saw police officers looking. You didn't follow their story, which actually I kind of liked. How they didn't spend a third plot line or something with cops trying to find it. I kind of like the idea, like...
It was just the kids.
They were looking, but they just couldn't figure out what the fuck was going on.
I honestly would love a side story. I would adore a side story featuring the cops behind this, trying to find it, and it screwing with them.
Yeah.
And maybe even killing them. Because that could be a cool side tangent to what... Because this monster is affecting so many people at different times. It's not just... It's not attacking one. It could be influencing politicians, influencing... Like, it understands humans have to be toyed with. Humans need to be altered. Like, every time... Like, with the TV channel. Like, young... By the way, that bully was 15 years old. I called bullshit on that.
The mullet added his age about 3 years.
Yeah, he looked... I would say in his early 20s.
Also, he may have been held back a bit. Let's.
God, he looked way too big. I'm saying like at least high school, late high school, senior that's been revoked a few years kind of deal. Like he should have been like 18.
I say that, but then next to his father, the father was taller, so.
Yeah, it was a weird perspective, honestly.
Mike beating the bully and pushing him down the well. I'm like, okay, so no offense. Every time a kid got in danger, I'm like, oh, okay, they're gonna follow the book. No kid's gonna hurt. The bully's gonna be fine. When the bully literally gets brutally murdered, and you don't see his death, but you see him hit the freaking well going straight down. It's like
he's coming back. He's coming back.
He says he's coming back. I say no way.
He's coming back, guaranteed. He's good. It's gonna bring him back somehow, some way.
But anyway, so I saw him like, oh fuck, they're probably gonna die. And then the next scene is goddamn Stan with it literally chomping on his face. I'm like, oh, he's fucked. And then he is fine, and I'm like, okay, maybe Stan could have died. Maybe they could have killed Stan just a little bit.
I'm
sorry, Stan.
Out of all of them, he felt like he was going to be the one murdered. Maybe, hopefully they fix that in the sequel. But yeah, so I think we've kind of gushed over this movie enough. I think we've given enough spoilers, both incorrect and correct. So yeah, I think that's going to be all.
We've been going a long time on this.
We have.
But that's the thing. It's such a good movie. And it is. And I am just like, for a horror film, I'm like, that was awesome. I want more. And I hate to say it, Alien Covenant, that's not happening.
Yeah, Alien Covenant.
That's not happening with you.
Alien Covenant, oh, how ye have fallen.
But I love the highs of it. The highs of it and the lows of Alien Covenant show you how you do a horror film right. And you don't, because Alien Covenant tried to be funny. And like with some jokey characters, Tex. And then this tried to be funny. But this worked a lot better.
Yeah, because you liked the characters more. Yeah. No offense to those guys. No offense to the whatever. But yeah, I think that's going to be all we're going to say about it. So, we want to thank you all for watching. Hope you guys enjoyed. We are excited for the sequel, I guarantee it. And we will see you next time with our review of...
I think next one is going to be either Wind River or Kingsman Secret Service.
Or
Kingsman 2.
Not Death Note?
The Golden Circle. Oh, yeah, we have to do Death Note. Mm-hmm. That's going to be fun.
Yeah, that's going to be fun. We're reviewing the series and the movie.
We'll see you next time.
The American one, not the Japanese one, just to clarify.
Yeah, because the Japanese one was a bit weird. Look, I'll put that cloud and end you on that.
Apparently, they get it. Apparently, they somehow get it right. I have never seen it. Don't know anything about it, but apparently they got it right. I don't know what that means.
What do you think, Ryuk?